Hey, and welcome back to the Cellarcast. Oh, sorry, the number one podcast in the world, the Cellarcast. Episode 111 we should be on. Yep, 111. And this is going to be a short episode. This is kind of like a bonus extra one, so I'm not going to do the typical comment review or anything like that. This is because, remember, I am obsessed with keeping parity of 1 week to one episode, because I like that. So this is going to be a shorter, probably more rambly episode where I'm going to mainly just talk about EVO news and maybe something else. I don't know. We're going to save all the comment answering and all that stuff for next time. So maybe leave a comment. Probably don't leave a question on this one, to be honest, because I'm probably going to record the actual episode tomorrow, and then they're going to be released separately, again, because I'm anal about it in more ways than one. Anyway, there's a lot of news from EVO that So, while we were at EVO, it happened to I wasn't at EVO. While EVO was going on, we happened to be at Great America. This is the third time I was at Great America, and it was fine. We were there way too fucking long. It was like 8 hours because for some reason that was the mandate that cats that our group was, because it was for some of our friends' birthdays, and that was the mandate, was we have to be there from like the minute it opens until like 8 p.m., which is too much for me. And yeah, it was what I expected. It was a lot of waiting. I don't like going on rides. I don't like the volume, both of people and of the sound, of the noise. There's always music playing somewhere in the park. God damn, there's always something. It's always something. Also, I am convinced that the architecture there is okay. So, we were waiting around. This was maybe at like 11. We had gotten into the park not too long. We'd only been at the park for a little bit, and we were walking around. We kind of stopped because some of us were waiting. We had a group of like 15 people, and some people wanted to go on this one ride, and so we were waiting, and we were standing in the shade. It was pretty hot out. The sun is up, and I'm like, man, we're standing under the shade of these trees, just on one of the walkways, and I'm looking and I'm like, man, it would be nice to sit down in the shade. Unfortunately, the bench is on the other side of this walkway, which is just beaming in the sun. So you can either stand in the shade and get your legs tired, or you can sit in the sun and get vaporized. And I chose the shade. So at first I was like, that seems like incompetence, honestly, on the planner's part. Like, yeah, I'm sure. Like I'd imagine that if you were designing a park and you got to the part where you had to place down benches, you would probably want to place them based around where the shade is at around noontime, give or take an hour or two, right? That's when the sun is going to be the hottest, and that's where you have to know where the shade is. The shade's going to be it's going to be in the same place every day. Now, I'm also willing to believe that maybe the trees were different when the park opened or something like that, but it was so consistent that all of the benches were in like right in the sun, unless they had like an umbrella with them or something like that, but they were all directly in the sun at midday. That it was like one of my favorite expressions. It's once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action, and that is the move of an enemy. I am convinced that they're placed like that so that you can. I'm pretty sure I've heard something like this before. I'm sure that they're placed in the sun so to disincentivize you from sitting down. I feel like the park is constructed in a way where you're supposed to be on your feet at all times and just walking around as much as possible. So that was I don't know. It was annoying. I ended up just sitting around at the few places where you could actually find shade, and that was okay. Just not my kind of scene. Cat made it tolerable. You know, being with her generally makes things tolerable, but would not have gone if it was not. If honestly, I wouldn't have gone if she hadn't bought the ticket for me, which is what happened. I was like, expect me, if I go, don't be surprised when I stand around. I don't go on any rides. And she bought the ticket for me, knowing that's what I was going to do. That's exactly what happened, and she didn't get mad at me because she understood that. So, yeah, that beat me out. That was on a Sunday, so that's why I didn't record. Oh no, wait, we recorded the day earlier. I didn't record. I didn't. When did I? I don't know. Am I forgetting? Wait. I missed like an upload day, right? Did I? No, I totally did. August 7th was the last one. That was on a Monday. Wait. Huh? Is this not actually a bonus episode? I totally thought that I missed an episode or something. What? Hang on. That was uploaded on the 7th. No, wait. No, I missed an upload date. That's what it was. The week before, because I was busy finishing the video and I just never... Right. So I published one on the 24th. And then nothing on the 31st. So this is making up for that. Okay, cool. Now we're back on track. Anyway, that's what happened. I spent the day afterwards just recovering. So now I'm in tip-top shape. Well, I have been for a bit. I've been working on the most recent video, or on the next video, for a second. For a little bit, for a few days. I'm excited about it. Anyway, so while we were there, So while we were at Great America, EVO was on. It was actually going over the whole weekend, which we talked about during that episode, and I was like, okay, well, around 4 or so, I'm gonna park it and I'm gonna watch the EVO stream, because that's when the Strive thing is happening, and then there's then there's a Street Fighter thing after that, and let's just see where it takes us. So I happened to tune in exactly when they did not the Strive announcement, but the Mortal Kombat one, which was very fortuitous timing. So the Mortal Kombat announcement was really fun if you weren't there to see it live. Basically what they did was Sajam came out, one of the most popular streamers, commentators in the fighting game community, and he did a very quick lightning round version of his show that he does on his stream called Will It Kill, which is just where you have a clip. He shows a clip of a fighting game, someone gets a hit, and then he pauses, and then he asks the chat if they think it's going to kill, and they bet on the outcome. Is the combo this person gets off this, is it going to kill? And then they have to bet using their Twitch channel points. So it's a fun show. Everyone watches it. He did a very quick version of it on stage, just kind of speeding through them, using clips from the past EVO, which was pretty cool. And then at the end, he brought up one of the guys from NRS, and he said, hey, let's do a clip with Reptile. And they do an MKX clip with Reptile. And afterwards they're like, hey, you want to see more Reptile? And they show the trailer for old Reppy Man. Specifically, not just Reptile, but also a couple of the other characters. They've been doing these weird group trailers for M1K. I have to get it in my head to call it M1K to properly differentiate them. M1K has had some. I don't know. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of it, but I guess so. What they're trying to do is this is the next reboot in the timeline, and everything's starting over again, and we're gonna do storylines anew, or maybe the same ones again. Who knows? So all of these trailers have been focused on setting up the various parts of the new timeline as opposed to any individual character. So it's like, hey, let's introduce all the ninjas together besides Scorpion and Sub-Zero because we showed them off in the reveal. Let's have all the ninjas together. Let's have all the what are they called? The Umgadi? Umgadi. I'm assuming they're gonna do one for like special forces. They're gonna do one for Outworlders or something like that. You know, all those. They're gonna do one for all the major groups, and this one was the so-called outcasts of the playable roster fighters and the cameos. So interesting picks. Obviously, you gotta have Reptile. Reptile wasn't in the last game. People love Reptile, and to be honest, I really like this new Reptile look. I think it's a really good one. I made a tier list on the side channel, which got more views than the last actual video I put out on the main channel that I put like weeks of work into. But that tier list video was ranking all of the male ninja designs from Mortal Kombat. And I ranked that one pretty high on the Reptile scale. I think that was a really good one. I like the fact that he's a humanoid and then he transforms into a reptile. It's like his true form. Neat. I like it. Also, Ashra's back. Which, of all of the characters... Okay, so there's a lot of 3D era MK characters who I look at and I'm like, I don't know how much I like this character, but I feel like you could take them and take another crack at them, you know? Make them a little cooler. Just, I don't know, just there's a lot of the 3D era characters come off being kind of lame to me, but there's like a decent concept in there, right? And I think with a modern day perspective, you could maybe take them in a more interesting direction. Ashra she feels, I don't know, I never really got her. She has a big hat. She had a big mariachi hat. I know it's like a monk hat. That's what it's supposed to be. But I always think of it as being a big mariachi hat. Apparently that's like either in an intro or she's got it at some point in the trailer. I don't know if she's keeping it or maybe it's like an alt costume, a customization feature. Who knows? But she looks fine. I don't know at all what she played like in the old games. She looks fine. Havoc's back. That was a good poll. Havoc is a pretty popular amongst people. So again, like a lot of the 3D cast are considered sort of stinkers. Havoc is one that people actually like. At first, I wasn't sold on his design the first time I saw him, and then initially like the original character, the 3D era one. And then, I don't know, I think he's one of those 3D era characters who grew on me. I think he has a cool shtick, what with being, I'm fucking Chaos Wizard. The fact that like half of his face is melted off and he's like has like a half skull face. He's very like Harvey Dent. He has like a spike arm and all this. You can do some cool stuff with him. And his design in this game is honestly pretty faithful to the original. It's just sort of doing it with a modern art style with a little flair. And he looks pretty good. There's just... What the fuck? What the fuck? There's a spider web in on my microphone. From like the microphone itself to the pop filter. What the fuck? Is there a spider weaving a web in it? I've had it... This has only been sitting on my desk for like a day or two. What the hell? That's really weird. Okay. Anyway, yeah, he's got some neat body horror stuff going on. That was weird. In the trailer, he's like cracks his neck back and like spits out a orb, like a red blood magic orb or whatever. It's neat. It's cool. Havoc is cool. And then who else was in that trailer? Those were the 3 main playable characters, but they also showed off Serena. I have never cared for Serena. Does anyone care about Serena? Serena is like, okay. Serena is the most forgettable looking character I've ever seen. She's one of the crowning examples in my mind whenever I think of lame, sexy characters from like the 6th generation. You know, that era where it's like, we can make hot women now, but none of them look interesting. Well, some of them do. Like, those designs stuck around. But Serena is like, just put her in like a fucking bra and panties, I guess. Which is basically what she's wearing. There's absolutely... I don't know what her personality is supposed to be. I don't know what her deal is. I have no clue anything about her. She's just supposed to be hot for some reason. And it's the least interesting kind of sexy ever. Just show a lot of skin. You know, I talk about, like, mentioned brute force sex appeal before. She's like the number one thing that comes to mind when I think of like, oh, this is just kind of lame. This just feels lazy. And she's back as a cameo, so it's her classic whatever design, but they kind of redeem it a bit by having her go... I guess she's a demon or something? I didn't know about that. Having her go into her demon form, which is actually cool looking. I wish she did that more. Did she ever do that in the old games? I don't know. I don't care about this character. It would be cool. I could see it. This is like it's all characters who have been outcasted from the various societies. Reptile is outcast because he can transform into a man, and they're like, ew, people gross. They're all like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're racist. Ashra is like a demon lady who didn't want to be a demon lady or something, and then Havoc is just kind of icky. He smells bad, so people don't like him, I guess. So, I guess, I don't know, does, maybe, like, would Natara fit into that? They could bring back Natara. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun if Natara came back? I also never thought Natara... Dude, I don't like the wings. I don't like fighting against characters with wings that are just out all the time. Like, I don't like Devil Jin, really. I much prefer, like, the Tekken 8 take on Jin, where the wings only come out sometimes. I just think it looks really awkward when they're fighting with these big-ass Party City angel wings on their back. I think it looks silly and awkward. And not cool, like I think it's trying to be. Yeah, I don't know. A character can have wings, but if they have to like come out only during like certain animations or something, like that's what I. Who makes it work? Oh, Dizzy makes it work from Guilty Gear because her wings like transform into stuff because they're just the demon and the angel on her. They're the literal demon and angel on her shoulders. So like for me that works because she only really uses the wings when she's like idle or moving, and then when she attacks, the wings tend to like transform and stuff, and they don't really get in the way. Whenever I watch footage of Natara from the old 3D MK games, I'm just seeing these goofy ass wings just whoop, 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 just flapping around. I think it looks really silly. So that was the MK trailer. Not bad. Not bad. Am I going to buy it? Probably not. But not bad. What else happened that I missed? Oh, there's a trailer we got another trailer for Najd for KOF 15. And Duo Lon. That's cool. Duo Lon is super cool. I think he's one of the most underrated cool characters from King of Fighters. I like a lot of the designs from the Ash saga. I think there's a lot of really underrated ones that are mainly underrated just because the games didn't sell very well. But yeah, characters like him, Oswald, super cool to me. And he looks good in this game. I rewatched a bit of the trailer for the new Garo, or, the teaser really. And the Garo trailer looks a little more cell-shaded. It looks a little... It might just be perspective or the shot that they use, but it looks like they could be going for a slightly different visual style from 15, but I think it looks cool. I want to see more of that game. What else happened? Oh yeah, then the 100,000 KOF announcements, or SNK announcements. King of Fighters 13 Global Match, which is the rollback version, why did it take so long for me to remember that? The rollback version is hitting next month. In November. Not September, November. And that's cool. It's a very pretty game. Really fine. With the release of that, we will finally have all the KOF games that people care about on rollback. We got 98. We have 2002 UM. We're gonna have 13, and then finally 15. Whoa! One of my Steam friends just booted up KOF 2002. Wow, that's weird timing. All right, that's cool. The rollback revolution. And speaking of rollback, Tekken 8 does not fucking have it. I was talking to someone about this because I saw the news that from what people would gather during the network test, during the closed beta test, the game was not at the time running on rollback as if it is, it's a weird rollback that does not work like anyone assumes, or that like anything you'd be used to if you played a game that uses rollback, which is, I don't know if there's any more details about it. So what's frustrating about this is that Harada is really bad at communicating, like just straight up. I know English is not his first language, and I respect him a lot for how good his English is, but straight up, he is not good or able to talk about technical stuff in English. He should really use a translator, because it causes a lot of confusion and enmity with the fan base, because he insists on communicating about technical things that are kind of above his language ability in English. And it gets very frustrating for everyone, because he's like, what, you don't understand me? It's like, no, I don't know what you mean. For most of the time he can express things pretty well, but any kind of technical thing relating to networking, it's like, I don't know if it's just he knows what he's talking about and it's just coming out wrong, or if he legitimately doesn't know what he's talking about and he's actually just talking out of his ass. And we can't tell, and it's frustrating because it doesn't make any sense. So until there's any kind of a rollback thing, I really don't plan I said this like a year ago or something. If Tekken 8 has rollback, I'll play it. I will play it. I'll check it out. Hopefully, maybe. You know, if I have the money around. But I will at least be interested in it. The lack of it has really killed my interest. I am not interested in playing a fighting game in 2023 that doesn't have a rollback. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What the hell? Ignoring that, they had 2 trailers for 2 characters. So one of them was Raven. Raven's back. He has a X-shaped scar on his face. I don't know the lore well enough to know exactly why he was missing in Tekken 7 and why Master Raven was replacing him. But, yeah, he is back, which means that Master Raven probably will not be. So Raven is the cool blade, unlike Darius from MK. Which one was he in? Deception? Well, he's technically in the new one as a cameo. But, yeah, Raven is, he's back. He has a bunch of new, very flashy-looking shadow clone moves. They really leaned into the ninja thing. Alright, so there's 2 characters. It's him, and then a new character, the first new character that they've shown off. Like, is this game going to launch with one newcomer? Her name is Azucena, I believe? And she's the coffee queen. And I immediately saw her, and I was like, oh, she looks like every other Tekken woman. She looks like every other female Tekken character. Tekken has this weird thing where, I don't know if it's the artists or what, or the character designers, I don't know who makes this call. If it's Harada, no idea. Every single woman in the Tekken series has the exact same body type. Like, with no variation. It's weird. None of them look different at all. just like same height, same build, same like fucking like cup size. It seems like the exact same proportions on like every single woman. I'm sure someone's gonna be like, oh no, this character's 2 inches taller than the other one, but visually in game, just put them in like like their bodies on a silhouette. They look exactly the same with just different clothes, and it's like, oh, these are getting kind of stale. So just immediately visually, she just looked... I thought she was a returning character until I saw the name, and I was like, that's not an existing person. I thought she was a returning character with just a new outfit or something. Nope, she's brand new. And now I will say about these 2 trailers, I am not a Tekken aficionado. So, to be honest, when I see a Tekken trailer, I haven't really been watching them because when I watch them, I don't know enough about Tekken to really understand what makes a character different or unique or, different from someone else on the roster. I just kind of see them doing martial arts things, approximately, and that's sort of it. I assume that every character has like 2 different stances. I assume that every character has a thing where you hit like a 1-1-2 or a 1-2-1 or something like that. And then beyond that, it's like, I can't really tell that it's just things happening on screen for me, because Tekken characters tend to remain pretty grounded for the most part in what they're actually doing on screen. Like some of them have sort of supernatural powers and stuff like that, or some sort of sci-fi nonsense going on in their movesets, but a lot of them are just, they're doing like a martial arts thing. And that's what they're doing. I'm just seeing animations play out. Whereas, in like most 2D fighters, I can at least get some sort of grasp for, okay, so they've got this thing, they got that thing, they have this kind of... Usually 2D fighters are a little more exaggerated, I suppose, in the kinds of things the characters are doing. I'm not trying to say that Tekken has, like, realistic characters. I'm saying that like the fighting styles are generally presented in a grounded way. Well, more grounded. They aren't throwing lasers and shit. So when I watch a Tekken trailer, it just kind of goes over my head. Maybe if I got more into one, I would actually be able to pick out like, oh, they got this, oh, they can do that and that. But for a newbie, it's just a character. So I haven't super been keeping up with them, but I will say that visually the Raven, like, okay, I can see him doing things with these crazy shadow clones. He's going all Naruto on us. And then with Azucena, she has this thing where she has this like spot dodge mechanic. She has this, apparently it's like a stance she can go into that auto dodges. And that visually at least looks pretty cool, like an evasive character. Like, Tekken's always had, like, really strong defensive movement and all that. So having, like, in this more aggressive game, having a character with a dedicated defensive stance, an evasive stance, is pretty cool. And visually, it looks neat. It looks like what Tekken, what I feel like people think Tekken looks like, of all these crazy dodging and weaving and stuff all around, so... Hey, yeah. And speaking of characters doing stuff, that's a terrible segue. The Johnny trailer for Strive. So I called it. I was absolutely correct last week that the first season 3 character was going to be Johnny, and I was rewarded for my Nostradamus like intuition. You probably could have predicted that just based off of character popularity. But yeah, it's Johnny. The first thing that really jumped out to me about Johnny was that... I guess I should talk about the... Yeah, there's like some new mechanics and stuff, yada yada, new offensive mechanic, new defensive mechanic. I have no idea how they're going to impact the game at all right now, but yeah, Johnny. So the first thing that really struck me about him was this motherfucker has looked the same for 20 years. Daisuke drew this guy in 1999, and he has not changed a thing about him. Not at all. At first, I could have sworn that those little pins he has on his, what would you call it? Like the what are those little folds around like the breast of the jacket? I don't know what that's called, but those things, I could have sworn that those were introduced in like Exert or something. Nope, they've been around since like his original appearance. They might be. Are they on a Sprite? Yeah, they're even on a Sprite. I didn't even. Okay, yeah. So yeah, no, this dude has not changed at all. Visually, at least, which is pretty funny. Even like Baiken had some changes, and she was pretty much just looked like Exert Baiken. But Johnny has been changed even less visually. Gameplay-wise, he looks fairly different. I watched the trailer a couple times, and I see now I can go into something that I actually know about. So, Johnny, traditionally, Johnny's mechanic, his whole gimmick was that he had these. He's a cowboy samurai. He's a quick draw swordsman, and I believe it's called Iaido is the sword style, which is where you it's the very anime thing where you unsheath the blade and strike, and then this is all in the same motion. You strike and then resheath the blade. You do this, where the character like, and they like put the blade back in, and then like the thing cuts like 10 feet behind them, that kind of thing. That's Iaido. And it's a real sword style. I don't know how applicable it is in real life, but it does exist, and it's been sort of mythicized over time into being into what you're probably more familiar with it now as just like the cool anime guy thing, anime swordsman thing. So Johnny's whole deal was he had that, and he had the coins. So he had this stance he could go into, Mistfiner stance, which is a great name for like a sword slash move like that. Mistfiner, hell yeah. And then he could angle it in one of three ways. But the rub with Mistfiner is that he had this ability where he could throw a coin. He started out each round with 8 coins, and then he tossed them, and every time he hit the opponent with them, they were like a projectile. It would level up his Mistfiner up to 3 levels, and then he could spend the levels to use a more powerful version of the move, which would give him more combo routes and stuff like that. So like a low level 2 Mistfiner, like that gives you this. It gives you this very Mortal Kombat bounce towards Johnny to be a combo starter. So he got all of his big combo routes off of. He had a very 2-step neutral, kind of like Testament, I guess, and Strive is how I would sort of compare them. 2-step neutral, where first he got his levels with the coin, and then he cashed it out with these. He made the most of it with these big Mistfiner combos with his leveled up moves. In Strive, it looks like they have. Okay, so actually, I was doing a little before I talk about that. I was doing a little bit of research because I was like, where does the coin thing come from with Samurai? Because in Final Fantasy, it's been a thing since like FF5 that like the samurai job in that game they have a move. It's called Zeninage. I was looking this up, where they toss coins, gold at an opponent, and then in Final Fantasy, the more coins you can throw, the more damage it'll do. And I seem to just remember this coin thing coming up with samurai characters, and I was like, where does that come from? And I looked it up, and it's surprisingly difficult to find the origins of that trope, this connection between samurai and like gold coins or just coins in general. Tossing coins. It seems to find some sort of origin in a series of Japanese crime novels called, something like Hireji-san, something like that, who was this wandering medieval Japan. I think it was medieval, old-time samurai era kind of Japan law enforcement. So not exactly a samurai, but some kind of like peacekeeper type of character, and he would throw coins at people to stop them or something. It was actually kind of hard to figure out what exactly it has to do with anything. But yeah, that seems to be... Those were written in like the 30s, so that seems to at least be related to that trope. Anyway, that doesn't exist for Johnny anymore. Now, it's been... It seems like, from the looks of things, Johnny's coin mechanic has kind of been... What would I call it? Condensed into a new, sort of similar thing where he throws cards. So he has a couple moves where he throws cards, and it looks like he might have like it as an optional follow-up after certain attacks or something like that. Basically, he'll toss a card into the air, and then it'll sort of slowly float down. And then if he does Mistfinder near the card, it'll like chain up and to cut the card in half. So he'll do the first slice, and then another slice will shoot up from where it's like comboing slices basically to break the card, and that will have, from the looks of it, different sorts of effects depending on where the card was when the opponent got hit, if they get hit by both of them. So I don't know if that's like a limited resource he has, just like the coin, or if that's going to be an unlimited thing for him, but it looks like they're sort of condensing it, which makes sense for Strive, from being this two-step thing where you got to throw the coin, land the coin, and then land the Mistfinder, into do a setup to put out a card and then hit Mistfinder. Like slightly, we're putting this into the same... We're putting these two actions closer together in gameplay, when how you'll actually play the character. Which makes sense for Strive, because it is a much faster game, and it's a game that has a lot more, just like, when I say faster, I mean you die faster. So that like in the same action, you don't want the character's game plan to be too slow, I guess. So that might be part of the reasoning for it. But he looks honestly pretty cool as someone who hasn't played Johnny in previous games. Johnny's interesting because he's always been really strong. He's just been limited by how hard he is to play. The thing with Johnny was that he had all of these crazy character-specific routes, and he could do just so much goddamn damage if he got the right combo starter. And it was very executionally demanding. It was really hard to learn how to do all these different routes. But if you've ever fought a really good Johnny, they fucking clean house. He is incredibly strong. So he's always been gated essentially by just raw execution. And they're counting on you dropping the combo, or for it just being too hard for you to learn. I don't know if that's like necessarily a really healthy way to balance a character, but that's traditionally how he's been designed. I'm curious then, with this new take on his gameplay, how strong he's going to be, because Exer Johnny was like immediately fucked up. He was so absurdly strong when he first released in Exerd Revelator, I believe was the first version he was in. Just unreal powerful, and he was eventually nerfed into just being a regular top tier. But he's still to this day considered really strong. And I don't know, is he going to have a single low tier appearance? Who knows? But that was cool. I liked the Johnny trailer. Very sensible character to start out on. Just for like, okay, yeah, a lot of people, the game's been out for like, 2 years now. 2 years. And, the player base has gone down. Let's bring in a fan favorite character to have people come back to check him out. He comes out in only like a week or so. Wait, when does he come out? It might be like really soon, actually. August 24th. So, okay, yeah. So in like about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks. Or a week and a half. So that'll be fun. He looks cool. Johnny, cool guy. Regular proportion Johnny Bravo. Then a really weird... So Street Fighter 6 didn't have big announcements at EVO this year. Not too big. I imagine that they have probably been saving things for Capcom Cup, and this was just sort of a lighter tease sort of thing, not like a super high effort reveal. Two main things. They had like this very strange collaboration with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You can buy costumes for avatar costumes based on the turtles for your avatar, and it's like $100 in total, which is fucking ludicrous. This has been like an immediate topic, like huge topic, and I don't really know how much I have to contribute other than, gee, I wonder how expensive the licensing fees were for Capcom. Because like, was that necessary? For the most part, the monetization of the game has been like fine. Like people are putting up with it because the game is good enough, which, you know, nets a lot of goodwill. If the game was shitty, or if it launched like SF5, people would be much less kind to it. But as of now, people just kind of, you know, begrudge it, and it's a thing that financing has demanded be put into the game. Because it must make all of the money all the time. Okay, fine, but yeah, it's for an overall cost for, you know, not even like a character costume. This is a little much, dude. Don't push it. Please make this the exception to the rule and not a trend moving forward to price things so high. It's a little. Yeah, don't burn out all of your goodwill. I wonder if like the people in finances saw the success and how much money it raked in, and they were like, "Oh, now we can just price the shit out of our customers. Yeah, they'll buy anything now. Yeah." You know, Capcom's gonna Capcom. Again, it really helps that the game is good. It really helps that the game is so good. I hit Platinum 3, I want to say, the other night. Plat 2 or 3 the other night. Great time. And then the only other SF6 reveal was Aki, which was just a teaser trailer and not a full thing. So I imagine that they won't do... once Season 2 rolls around, they will not be doing character reveals like this, because so the only reason that they're just being so blatant with like, yeah, first they already showed off like a concept sketch of her officially, and then they were like, yeah, here's just like her world tour mode introduction, check her out. Like, it's because of the leak. I imagine once we get to Season 2 and the characters are hopefully not leaked before the game's release, they will they're just I'd rather just get an actual trailer for the character, not like, here's a cutscene of her doing something, which this just was. She's creepy, she's spooky, she's ooky, she's kooky. If anyone doesn't know who Aki is, she's the protege of Fang or Fong from, I think it's Fang, it's spelled Fang, from Street Fighter V, the character everyone hates. Fang was like from some Chinese crime organization who abducted children and then forced them to like merge with this weird poison thing. It's something like weirdly fucked up and dark, but because it's Street Fighter, they never really talk about it. And then that's why he's like a poison guy. It's not why he's annoying. He's just like that. And then at the end of SF5, he kind of, once Bison dies, he just kind of goes back into hiding and takes this young girl as his new protege, his new apprentice in the art of being a poison person. And now Aki's here, because we're, like, however many years since 5. So, the design looked weird in person. Or not in person. Actually rendered out in 3D. The character concept looked... I don't know, I think one of the things that I sort of appreciate about SF5 is that they aren't afraid to make the characters look a little grotesque sometimes, or creepy. Like, I really like the fact that during Jury's level 3, she has, like, a creepy, weird, gaunt face. She is kind of, like, when she smiles at you, she's, like, leering. It's really... It's like, ooh, it's not, like, hot, which they easily could have done for a character like her. It's not, like, a sexy, ooh, femme fatale thing. It's like, oh, no, she's like a psychopath. She's like a murderous person. She's awful. And her just, like, creepy grin sells that, which I appreciated. Aki kind of follows sort of suit in that. You could easily have her be, like, a very sexy character with, like, her dress and all that, but they've leaned really into having these, like, these weird, narrow eyes that are, like, she's always, like, half squinting, and these weird skin. She doesn't look human, right? Like, she doesn't look like a human. Her skin looks weird. So it's like almost like synthetic or doll-like, and it's kind of off-putting. Her hairstyle also, a lot of people say it looks like a hat, but I think it's really supposed to be, I think she's supposed to be like a mushroom. I think she's supposed to be like it's supposed to be like a mushroom cap head. Yeah, she's poisonous. Poison shroom lady. Hey, speaking of shrooms, when we were at Great America, we went to the water park, and I don't like getting wet. So I was waiting outside the changing room while Kat was getting changed, and this guy walks past me. He's wearing like a bunch of gold chains, and he says, "You look like you got shrooms on you." I was like, I just didn't know. Like, what do you say? Like, he didn't stop. He kept walking. So I didn't know what to say. It's such a weird thing for someone to say to you. So I just kind of made eye contact and didn't change facial expression, and which maybe convinced him that I really did have mushrooms on me. And he goes like, "Hey, you got shrooms on you?" He's still walking, and I was like, "No." And then he just rounded the corner and was gone, and I never saw him again. I just thought that was weird. Leave a comment. Okay, leave a comment. Leave a comment down below if I look like a drug dealer, or if I look like I have shrooms, if you saw me on the street. Do I look like I have psychedelics on me? Because I don't? It's really weird, especially for me. I haven't even done weed. I haven't even done a weed. So having someone assume that I do psychedelics is like, that, okay, maybe either you need to get your eyes checked out, or I need to get a haircut. Who do I look like? Aki? From Street Fighter 6? Yep. So that was EVO news, and that's kind of... Did I have anything else I want to talk... I guess I could talk about the actual EVO viewing experience. So I didn't get to see that much of any finals, just because I was busy, having a personal life and stuff like that. But I did manage, while we were at the water park, to just kind of sit, park it in a seat and watch some of the stream. I watched most of the Strive Top 6, and it was disappointing. It was not great for me, personally. Just, like, the matches weren't very good. It was a lot of just complete blowouts. Like, 3-0 or 3-1, just completely one-sided stomps. Almost every single match where, some rounds are just literally over in, like, 9 seconds. Because Strive is such a high-damage game. Oh, I haven't stretched like that today. Oh, that feels good. Strive's such a high damage game that it just boom, 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 boom. Like, they were going by fast, which was fine, which is nice, but it's just like, man, the same, like, 4 or 5 characters have been top tier for, like, this game's entire lifespan. Oh boy, who are we gonna see in top 6? Is it gonna be Happy Chaos, Nago Ryuki, Soul? Who else? Someone was playing Kai. That was cool. It's just like a Ramwadal. Oh boy, is it going to be the same 4 or 5 characters every single match? I can't wait. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a big balance patch to just reshuffle some of this shit. I'm at least happy that Happy Chaos plays differently now. I feel like they balanced him into being what the character was supposed to be, which is like a multi-range character who can work at multiple different ranges, as opposed to like, wow. So Happy Chaos's deal, design-wise, what I could gather, was that he's designed to be effective at multiple different ranges, but his strengths change depending on what range he's at. So his long range, mid range, and close range strengths he shifts. He's chaotic. He can shift and change as much as you want, and he can be strong, but he has a lot of different. He has to focus on different tools for his different positions. The problem with Happy Chaos was that his zoning was way too good. So playing him from full screen and just fucking doing that the whole match, which granted did take some executional prowess. You did have to be good at executing it, but if you could do it, you just kind of, it's like Johnny. It's like Johnny, except he's just zoning. It's like, wow, most of the cast just feels kind of invalidated by this fucking character because his reward on hit was just absolutely ludicrous. Like, a single hit into like a full combo, into a wall splat, he could get a focus into his Deus Ex Machina super, which got him a wall splat, completely refilled all of his bullets. Then after this transition, after the stage transition, he lands. He gets Oki because he broke the wall with his super. Again, he's got all of his bullets. He just popped a focus. He has positive bonus because he broke the wall. And like, wow, this character just fucking eats. He just eats when he gets a single hit. Ludicrous. Yeah, so hopefully the game gets a little bit of a shake-up. I hope Testament remains exactly where they are, or with just enough buffs with the rest of the cast that they get stronger but without anyone really noticing. Keep my stable mid-tier where they're at. Do I have anything else to talk about regarding EVO? Not really. I don't think so. Maybe I'll remember something later. I did manage to talk for 50 minutes about just that, so expect the actual episode to be about literally anything else. This has been the little bonus episode. You don't have to ask questions on this one if you want to. Just wait like tomorrow or something when I'm gonna record the next one. And yeah, I think that's it. Goodbye.